Imagine this: a driver locked in a fierce battle, pushing harder every lap, yet somehow falling further behind without a single overtake happening on track. How? Because in Formula One, some of the most decisive victories are won in the pit lane, not on the asphalt. Today we're uncovering two of the sport's most lethal strategic weapons: the undercut and the overcut, and why a single well-timed pit stop can completely rewrite the outcome of a race. These aren't flashy maneuvers or high-speed heroics. They're calculated gambles that separate champions from the rest of the field. Think about the stakes. In modern Formula One, a driver can lose 5, sometimes 10 positions without ever being passed on track, simply because their rival pulled off a perfectly executed undercut. Conversely, a team that reads the race wrong and executes at the wrong moment finds themselves helpless, watching their driver slide down the order as they exit the pits. This is where championships are decided, where millions of dollars in prize money hang in the balance, and where split-second decisions made in the garage prove more valuable than raw driving talent. Over the next few minutes, we'll break down how these strategies work, when teams choose to deploy them, and why understanding pit lane tactics is just as crucial as understanding racing lines. Let's start with the simplest version. An undercut happens when a driver stops for fresh tires before their competitor does. On paper, that sounds straightforward. Pit early, get fresh rubber, go faster, maybe gain positions. But the magic is in the details. Imagine a circuit like Monaco or Singapore, where tire degradation is extreme and track position feels almost untouchable. Your driver is running second, locked in behind their rival, unable to pass because the air flowing off the leading car is dirty and chaotic. It actually makes your car less efficient. Your front wing struggles to generate downforce, your tires don't have the grip they need, and you're slowly cooking your rubber in frustration. But here's where strategy enters the room like a chess master. Your engineer looks at the data and sees something the trailing car's driver cannot. The leading car's tires have crossed a threshold. They're still fast enough to hold position, but they've lost that initial bite, that elastic grip that was there 3 laps ago. Your car, by contrast, still has something left in the tank. So you radio your driver, "Box this lap." In comes your machine, and in 2.3 seconds, mechanics perform a choreographed miracle. Wheels off, fresh Pirellis on, fuel system topped, wheels back on. Your driver exits, 10th place, but with brand new tires in that precious window where they have maximum grip, maximum temperature, maximum grip. The leader, still out there, is driving on rubber that's 5 laps old by the time your pit stop is complete. The math is brutal. Fresh tires can be 5, even 7/10ths of a second faster per lap than worn ones, especially in the opening stages. So your driver, starting from 10th, now has a 6-lap window where they're the faster car on track, genuinely, measurably faster. They close the gap, they pass. Maybe they gain 2 or 3 positions in the process, and suddenly the standings have been rearranged without a single dramatic overtake. The leader had to stop eventually, and when they did, they were slowed to the back, while your driver was already climbing. That's an undercut, a precision strike delivered not with aggressive racing, but with tire physics and timing. Now, the overcut is the inverse, a defensive counterpunch. Your driver is trailing, and you resist the temptation to pit early when everyone expects it. You stay out longer, let your tires run and run, pushing them into that sweet zone where, paradoxically, compounds like soft tires can actually last longer than expected if driven smoothly. Meanwhile, the leading car pits, gets fresh tires, exits ahead of you, still in the lead. But here's the trap you've laid. You're still on track with older tires, but you're running in clean air now, the best air on the circuit. No turbulence, no dirty wake, maximum efficiency, and your driver knows exactly what they're doing. They push, extract everything from those aged tires, and when you finally pit, you exit in the lead or close to it, because the leader in their later pit stop hit traffic or got held up. Or you exit with fresher tires while your rival has older ones, and suddenly the undercut becomes your tool, not theirs. Both strategies are gambits built on one foundation: understanding the curve of tire performance throughout a stint. Let's look at how this strategy has decided some of Formula One's most thrilling moments. Because theory means nothing without seeing it work under pressure. Take Abu Dhabi 2010, the season finale, championship on the line. Sebastian Vettel leading Lewis Hamilton in the final laps. Vettel was faster, pulling away, but Hamilton's team made a bold call. Pit him early, get him fresh tires while the track was still green. Vettel stayed out, confident in his pace and position, but when he finally stopped, he emerged behind Hamilton, not because Hamilton was suddenly faster, but because the undercut had flipped the order. Hamilton could control the race from the front, and though Vettel closed in those final laps, it was enough. That early pit stop changed the momentum of the whole race. Now jump forward to 2016 Monaco Grand Prix, a race where the undercut is pure theatre, because overtaking is nearly impossible. Lewis Hamilton was trailing Nico Rosberg, trailing by seconds with no realistic way past on track. So on lap 41, Mercedes gambled, pit Hamilton first, give him the overcut opportunity. Rosberg stayed out, thinking he could hold on, but Hamilton emerged with fresher tires and began closing down the gap. The question wasn't whether Hamilton could overtake Rosberg on track, it was whether Rosberg could hold on long enough before his own pit stop. Rosberg eventually stopped and came out ahead, but the psychological edge had shifted. Hamilton's racecraft, combined with the tire advantage, made those final laps incredibly tense. But the clearest example might be Barcelona 2011, where McLaren executed an undercut so perfect, it became a masterclass. Jenson Button, running second to Fernando Alonso, pitted first and gained track position, not by being faster, but by reading the tire degradation better than anyone else that day. Button came out leading and controlled the rest of the race. These weren't lucky moments or accidents. They were teams reading the future in the tire data, understanding when performance would peak and fade, and making the split-second call to act. The fastest car doesn't always win the race. The team that understands the invisible game wins it. But what if one of those calls had gone the other way? What if Vettel had pitted first at Abu Dhabi 2010, beating Hamilton to the undercut instead of losing to it? The mathematics are brutal. If Vettel exits the pits ahead, even by a few tenths, he controls the narrative. Hamilton would be chasing in clear air. And in those final laps, with Vettel's raw pace and tire freshness both working in his favor, the championship slips away. Or flip Monaco 2016. Imagine if Rosberg had read his tires perfectly and pitted one lap earlier than Hamilton anticipated. He'd have come out with a bigger buffer, fresher rubber for the closing laps, and Hamilton's psychological assault from behind becomes just noise. The tiniest margins decide everything. A pit crew that's 1/10 slower, a driver who pits one lap too late, a team that misreads the tire data by a single lap, and the entire chess match collapses. These aren't races decided by heroic moves on the straights. They're decided in the garage, on a telemetry screen, by engineers and strategists playing three-dimensional chess while the world watches. One wrong prediction, one moment of hesitation, and the invisible weapon becomes a liability instead of a victory. So here's what you need to take away. The undercut and overcut aren't just pit stop tactics. They're psychological and mathematical warfare played out in the data, fought in the garage before a wheel ever touches track. Second, timing is everything. A single lap can separate victory from defeat, and the teams that master tire prediction and strategy have weapons invisible to the naked eye, but devastating on the championship standings. And third, remember this, the fastest driver doesn't always win the race. The smartest team does. Now, we want to hear from you. Which F1 strategy topic should we break down next? Tire management across a full distance, DRS and its impact on racing, or something else entirely? Drop your vote in the comments below. If you're hungry for more stories from the paddock, and the hidden games that decide championships. Hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.